The banners of the King of Hell advance toward us. Look straight before you and see if you can make him out, my master said. As when the thick mist rises, or when our hemisphere darkens to night, one may discern a distant windmill by its turning sails. It seemed to me I saw such a contrivance, and to avoid the wind, I drew in close behind my leader. There was nowhere else to hide. Now, and I shudder as I write it out in verse, I was where the shades were wholly covered, showing through like bits of straw in glass. Some are lying down, still others stand erect, some with their heads and some with their foot soles up, some bent like bows, their faces to their toes. When we had advanced far enough along that my master was pleased to let me see the creature who was once so fair of face, he took a step aside, then brought me to a halt. Look there, at Dis, and see the place where you must arm yourself with fortitude. Then how faint and frozen I became, reader, do not ask, for I do not write it, since my words would fail to be enough. I did not die, nor did I stay alive. Imagine, if you have the wit, what I became, deprived of either state. The emperor of the woeful kingdom rose from the ice below his breast, and I in size am closer to a giant than giants are when measured to his arms. Judge then what the whole must be that is proportional to such a part. If he was fair as he is hideous now, and raised his brow in scorn of his creator, he is fit to be the source of every sorrow. Oh, what a wonder it appeared to me when I perceived 3 faces on his head. The first in front was red in colour. Another 2 he had, each joined with this, above the midpoint of each shoulder, and all the 3 united at the crest. The one on the right was a whitish yellow, while the left-hand one was tinted like the people living at the sources of the Nile. Beneath each face 2 mighty wings emerged, such as befit so vast a bird. I never saw such massive sails at sea. They were featherless and fashioned like a bat's wings. When he flapped them, he sent forth 3 separate winds, the sources of the ice upon Cocytus. Out of 6 eyes he wept, and his 3 chins dripped tears and drooled blood-red saliva. With his teeth, just like a hackle pounding flax, he champed a sinner in each mouth, tormenting 3 at once. For the one in front, the gnawing was a trifle to the clawing, for from time to time his back was left with not a shred of skin. That soul up there, who bears the greatest pain, said the master, is Judas Iscariot, who has his head within and outside flails his legs. As for the other 2, whose heads are dangling down, Brutus is hanging from the swarthy snout. See how he writhes and utters not a word. And from the other, Cassius, so large of limb. But night is rising in the sky. It is time for us to leave, for we have seen it all. At his request, I clasped him round the neck. When the wings had opened wide enough, he chose the proper time and place and took a handhold on those hairy flanks. Then, from hank to hank, he clambered down between the thick pelt and the crusted ice. When we had come to where the thigh bone swivels at the broad part of the hips, my leader, with much strain of limb and breath, turned his head where Satan had his shanks and clung to the hair like a man climbing upward, so that I thought we were heading back to hell. "Hold on tight, for by such rungs as these," said my master, panting like a man exhausted, "must we depart from so much evil." Then out through an opening in the rock he went, setting me down upon its edge to rest, and then with quick and cautious steps he joined me. I raised my eyes, thinking I would see Lucifer still the same as I had left him, but saw him with his legs held upward. And if I became confused, let those dull minds who fail to see what point I'd passed comprehend what I felt then. The master said to me, "Get to your feet, for the way is long and the road not easy, and the sun returns to middle tierce." It was not the great hall of a palace where we were, but a natural dungeon, rough underfoot and wanting light. "Master, before I tear myself from this abyss," I said once I had risen, "say a few words to rid me of my doubt. Where is the ice? Why is this one fixed now, upside down? And how in so few hours has the sun moved from evening into morning?" And he to me, "You imagine you are still beyond the centre, where I grasped the hair of the guilty worm by whom the world is pierced. So you were, as long as I descended. But when I turned around, you passed the point by which all weights are drawn from every side. You are now beneath the hemisphere, opposite the one that canopies the land mass, and underneath its zenith that man was slain who without sin was born and sinless lived. You have your feet upon a little sphere that forms Judeca's other face. Here it is morning when it is evening there, and the one whose hair provided us a ladder is fixed exactly as he was before. It was on this side that he fell from heaven, and the dry land that used to stand above in fear of him immersed itself in water and fled into our hemisphere. And perhaps to escape from him, the land we'll find above created this lacuna when it rushed back up. As far as one can get from Beelzebub, in the remotest corner of this cavern, there is a place one cannot find by sight, but by the sound of a narrow stream that trickles through a channel it has cut into the rock in its meanderings, making a gentle slope. Into that hidden passage my guide and I entered to find again the world of light, and without thinking of a moment's rest, we climbed up, he first and I behind him, far enough to see, through a round opening, a few of those fair things the heavens bear. Then we came forth to see again the stars.